365 days a year.
How many are there?
36. Counted them myself.
36! But last year I had 37!
God, place is a mess.
Meth? You're worried about a little meth? There's nothing here a little spit shine wouldn't fix.
I ought to kill you right now.
Not a very private place for a murder.
It's the Al Travis Show, and we've got our Senator Susan Kenton with Cleanup in Aisle 9, or yeah, but. And I have the second half of my Why I'm So Mad Today at Everybody a bit to talk about. Don't give me that face. How are you doing? You're not mad at the world. I'm mad at the world. You've been at a cabin. You're not mad at anybody. You took a long weekend.
I've been working, actually.
Okay. But at a cabin, that's nicer.
Well, I can work remotely, and it is very nice, yes.
Okay. Here's my second thing today that's got me in a real attitude. Both sides, shame on you all. That is what I'm going with. Evidently, Governor Walz says he intends to call a special session this week, regardless of whether he has the votes to pass a suite of student safety proposals, doing it anyway. And when you say those words, that you don't have the votes, but you're doing it anyway, then this absolutely becomes nothing but kabuki theater. It's like, we're going to do it. Look what we got here. This is political. We're going to make them take a vote on a thing, and then they're going to have to say no. Special sessions, we don't need it for that. Stop mucking around. And I'm going to get on Lisa Namath, Speaker Namath, who said, you know what, I'm on board after talking to them. Maybe we'll get a couple of things done here and there. Yeah.
Well,
I don't like this. I don't like this all.
I mean,
on both sides.
First of all, do you really want to have a conversation about guns? And it's absolutely untenable. And this is, I mean, if Tom Emmer, I mean, he embarrassed himself so badly on national TV this weekend because he said it's mental health, it's not the guns. And Martha Raddatz asked him, well, then why did you vote against, these measures that would help mental health? And he was like, I don't know why I voted the way I did. I mean, and I know from experience in the Minnesota legislature, they also love to pull out the issue of mental health. But when it comes to actually funding mental health, the first agency they're always wanting to try to cut is the one that actually has programs to support mental health. So, it's so dishonest to say you care about this and that we can't have a conversation. And I forget the committee that Paul Novotny is the chair of, but he absolutely shut down this conversation within maybe 24 hours after the shooting, that we're even going to have a conversation about guns. It's just not going to happen. So, you want to talk about the reactionary position of it. But, there are solutions. A lot of other countries have found solutions. And there are ways to do this that we can still have a strong, healthy Second Amendment that doesn't put our children's lives at risk on a near daily basis. Not to mention that they're traumatized by the entire experience just of going through all those lockdown drills, which shouldn't even have to be a thing. But anyway, that aside, I lost my point. You got me a little worked up, as you saw.
And did I interrupt? No, I sat there and listened. And here's my side.
I do remember.
Finish.
If I can just
the floor is yours.
But I actually really appreciate Lisa Namath saying after they had their conversation, it's like, yes, we can get together, and because everybody knows the math, whatever we do would have to be bipartisan anyway. And so, I appreciate saying we're actually going to try to do something. And so, yeah, let's try to do something. Maybe
Maybe
we can pass that binary trigger thing that, because it was put in the tax bill.
But see, now we can pass things because there's a momentum, and I hate to use that with what has happened, but that's what we're talking about here, a political momentum to ban, let's say, the binary trigger thing, what you're talking about. You could possibly get that passed in a special session that has absolutely nothing to do with the last three things that happened in Minnesota. None of them had binary triggers. None of the guns had any of that, and yet you're going to ban them.
If I'm not mistaken, that was the issue with the shooting of the officers and the EMTs in Burnsville.
Okay, I'm just talking last through the summer. I don't know about Burnsville, which was 2 years ago.
Last spring. No, wasn't that
spring.
this?
A year ago spring.
A year ago.
No, we had, a year ago spring. And again, I'm not saying that that's not it, but we're going to pass that law now, and it doesn't fix the last three things that happened. But let me give you this. I honestly believe this state, all governments, we spent how long deciding we're going to have medical marijuana, our marijuana in the state of Minnesota, and that we passed the bill in 2023 because we've been discussing it for 20 years, and we know we got a great bill, and it sucks. We sit here now, don't know who's running the place, who's getting a card and who doesn't. The idea that we think that whatever it is, 213 people can get together 2 weeks after a major issue and solve the problem is crap. We need to take our breath and say, here's what we can. Because binary triggers had nothing to do with the kids shooting. It had nothing to do with the Hoffman shooting. It had nothing to do with crazy guy getting into the Senate. Oh, but we can fix this because there is momentum, and I get it. What I'd rather you do is take a breath, because I completely agree with you. Anybody who doesn't want to take a look at mental health, you're a nut job. This guy literally went into the Capitol, and this isn't even any of the shootings, went to the Capitol, undressed himself, took a bath in the shower, sat in the Senate, and claimed he was the governor. That's not enough in Minnesota to get you a cray-cray bed for the night so some doctor can talk to you and find out really what's going on in your head. This kid who shot the kids at the school, you can't tell me there weren't signs before he did this. But we did not have the resources or the people to turn him in. Seems like such a bad thing. Somebody should say, hey, Johnny's a little cracked here. We got to get some help.
No,
and
I'm so glad you brought that up, because
okay, thank you.
The timing of this probably would not have made a difference for this particular case.
Yep.
But and I don't remember which bill it was that this was included in, but there was funding, and part of it was going to go to the Minnesota State Patrol to have staff to monitor exactly for this kind of stuff: domestic terrorism, domestic violence threats, this exact kind of thing. And guess what? The Trump administration and the Republican Congress just pulled all of that money away. And so, yes, it was the timing of when that money was coming through and the hiring. It would not have made a difference in this case. But if it's going to happen in the future, we're going to have fewer eyes on the situation to find this next guy that does it. Because, there's a young man who was involved, who was at Parkland High School when that shooting happened. And he was on TV over the weekend. He's been one of the activists who came out of that entire horrible scene. It's not David Hogg. It's another young man, for those who get triggered. So no bad pun by about David Hogg.
We're binary triggered by both of them. See what I did there?
Yeah. But what he is exactly talking about this, that these are YouTube channels that are out there, and we absolutely should be monitoring these things and be prepared to stop, because they do have signs. But regardless of that, all that stuff exists in other countries, except they still don't have these problems because they don't have near the amount of guns and that easy access to guns that we have.
See, but your easy access has changed, because since you guys passed the the red flag laws, Minnesota actually has some of the toughest laws in the country. California is very close, Chicago, or Illinois, but we have some of the strictest gun laws. And what happened here, if you really want to bust it down, is people did not follow is wrong. They did not avail
themselves of the
and this is back to the bigger problem. And instead of just going and passing a gun law and saying, see, we did a thing, stop. You need to bust this down from day number one. It should not be a parent's nightmare to say, little Johnny, something ain't right here. We need to get him help. And if you get him help and you get him to a doctor says, nah, little Johnny's just got a weird sense of humor, great. No harm, no foul, doesn't go on Johnny's record. It isn't a thing. But we're so scared to turn someone in who posted a video about this. By the way, someone did send me a text. He didn't post that video about his guns and all that until like an hour before on YouTube. So I was saying YouTube can generate algorithms and this ain't looking right. Get a cop involved. We'll get there. But my point being is we have to bust this down from the beginning. If a guy is naked in the governor and not the governor, but says he's governor, he can't get a bed.
Absolutely agreed. I do not disagree. But then let's cannot take away the fact that the most significant factor when you do the analysis of it, there's a wonderful economist who does a lot of data analysis on things. He's actually from Minnesota, and he actually was baptized in Annunciation. He now lives in England works at one of the universities there. But he wrote a thing over the weekend with a real personal reflection, because that was the church he grew up in, and did a fascinating analysis of the economics of it, the data of it, and just really demonstrates how far an outlier. The United States is in terms of the number of guns we have per people, shootings per people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You cannot have this conversation without talking about the absolute proliferation of guns. And I'm going to go back to a theme that I bring up here all the time. Then that is too much of our government is enabling profitability for certain industries, whether it's oil and coal and the big media, pharmaceutical, we can go through it, but you cannot deny the gun.
Don't you rip on big media? This is the Al Travis Show.
You're changing things, Al. You're independent. We stand up for the independent little guys. That's why I'm here.
That's me, the independent little guy. Just real quickly, though, but it's the solution that doesn't solve the problem. The AR style rifle, right? It is 5% of the guns in the country, 5% of all of it. Of those, 4% of them are ever involved in shootings. This could solve, if you do that, 4% of your problems, but the person who's using it just has to pick a different gun. The AR, this terrible rifle that you all hate, it's nothing more than the device. And it's no different than 99% of the guns out there, except it looks worse. It's an Army-style looking rifle, and it's scary. My point is it's only involved with 4% of what we're talking about, but we should ban it.
But and I think Uvalde is a really interesting, and that's near where I lived for many years. Yep. And law enforcement would not even go in that room because they knew how lethal that weapon was. And so it has to do with the actual engineering of it. It has to do with the actual ammunition that was used, and that was the case in Annunciation as well, that where people can survive certain gunshots, you're not going to survive this, particularly not a small child's body. And
but the AR isn't the only one, is my point. That bullet and all the types.
People use the word AR as a shorthand for the nature of the engineering of that particular type of weapon, and we should be able to do something, because nobody should be able to put that many bullets into a room of people, particularly praying children, within 2 minutes.
All right. We should have a time limit. What would be a good time? 5 minutes? I'm just kidding. I got to go. We got to go to break. We'll talk more on the other side. What was my other thing? I don't know if you want to talk more about this. Oh, Airbnb bans. I'm for them.
I have another one to talk about, though. I want to ask you about your weekend.
We'll talk about that then, coming up next on the Al Travis Show.
About it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts." But in a world full of AI and fake news, where can Minnesotans find the facts? Center of the American Experiment is Minnesota's go-to source for fact-based analysis and common sense solutions for taxes, energy, public safety, and our kids' education. Visit AmericanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
Dust from gravel roads and driveways does more than make your car dirty inside and out. It gets down into your lungs, and it's bad for your health. Now there's an environmentally friendly solution for your dust problems. It's called DustLock. DustLock can control all your summer dust problems with just one application. Protect your vehicle and your lungs. Learn more at dustlock.com.
don't need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on The Al Travis Show.
We've got our Senator Susan Kent. I think we actually survived this whole thing where I thought we were going to no longer be friends, but I don't know we'll survive you asking personal questions. What do you want to know?
I was just going to ask,
how to keep it professional.
How was your holiday weekend?
It was weird but fun. Saturday we golfed, went to a friend's house for drinks and a dinner after or later in the out. That was fun. My church group, I do this. Folks who are confirmed but yet have no really place to go. They just kind of leave. We've been doing this church group for the last 10, 12 years, and I've got this pack of 3 or 4 gals in this thing. Completely different. Started with my sons. They're all boys and stuff, and that's one thing. Girls are completely different. To get them to open up was nuts. But now that they opened up, good God, they don't stop. I know more about prom dresses than you ever want to know, and that sort of thing. But they keep me on my toes. God love them. I told them someday, because I like to golf. Oh, you have to show us how to golf. So Sunday was the day. They kept pushing me. Sunday we went out and spent 2 hours at the golf course teaching these ladies how to golf, which from start to finish is, oof, it was fun. And then my Labor Day got canceled as far as golf goes, so actually had a list of things to get done at the house and did them and felt accomplished and got to sleep in, and it was good. How about you?
And I'll just say then you end up with a short week, which I know that's always kind of a nice thing too. It's like you get the long weekend and you get the short week. So
I'm almost to the point of this 4-day work week thing might be a good gig if we could pull it off.
I know we need more of that. I think we do. And, just work a little longer, maybe those 4 days. But yeah, we learned early on in our 2-career household that it just was too much because we spent all our free time doing chores and errands. And it was like, we need a more balance. So, well, what I really wanted to know was if you and your family made $5 billion this weekend.
No, was that lottery ticket over? The lottery ticket's like $1 billion.
No, this is what the Trump family made.
So this was a trick question to get a Trump bashing. You don't even care about me.
I always care about
you. You are evil, Susan Kent. You are evil.
I am planning to get you to teach me golf because I want to golf over here at the Superior Court.
I would love to teach you. I can teach anybody to golf. Oh my God, that was sneaky. So how did they make $5 billion over the weekend? What I missed?
So I think this is so fascinating because they have this crypto venture, and I know everybody's eyes glaze over when you talk about crypto, but we need to pay attention to it because there is a lot of money happening in there, and there's a lot of conversation about a bubble that could have a bigger ripple effect in the entire economy, but that's a geeky conversation for another day. But no, they had this open trading on their particular crypto venture. WFLI is the little code, and they made $5 billion. And I just think that's sort of amazing. But I think it's important.
I'm so glad you let in with this because we talked about it with the financial guy earlier about this crypto thing. No one seems to understand it. Everybody can have one. So we are going to start. We'll get it. It'll take a little time. A limited edition Al Travis coin, which currently we think is worth about $200 a coin. Now, you don't actually get a coin. You just get me telling you that your $200 is worth the coin. We're going to get this thing started. I'm very excited about the opportunity of the Al Travis coin.
And that's fine as long as you use your powers for evil and not good. But the problem is Jimmy Carter sold his peanut farm when we were kids. Oh,
I remember that.
And Donald Trump came into office promising to drain the swamp. I think you and I have agreed that Congress should not be able to trade stocks, for example. Remember?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
right?
I think the DOJ needs to look into all these people. I honestly, only because I saw a meme. Elizabeth Warren made $100 million since being in her. AOC's made 30. I want them all found. Top to bottom, Republicans. You tell me where you're making $170,000 a year, and you're getting into the millions.
But $5 billion with the B dollars over the weekend for the Trump family.
I'm not arguing that.
This is a total example of how he is broken from this same broken, corrupt political system that he got into office saying he was going to change. And so everybody needs to be paying attention, even if
as long as he takes his $5 billion and uses it for good, it'll be okay. I'm just teasing that I got it.
Yeah,
we're out of time.
We agree on that.
Thanks for that sneaky little lawyer way of getting me into the conversation. She's Senator Susan Kent on the Al Travis Show.